this week, the Attorney General out of Washington, D.C. has sued Amazon on antitrust grounds, alleging that its anti-competitive practices have illegally raised prices for consumers. So according to CNBC, here's what the lawsuit alleges. Essentially, if it is saying that if items were found to be of a lower price at competing retailers by way of marketplace sellers on Amazon, Amazon's algorithms would penalize those retailers and take away their real estate, so to speak, in the online space, to penalize them, to not give as good placement as they would have otherwise received. Now, Amazon disagrees with the charges here. An Amazon spokesperson said on Tuesday, quote, the DC Attorney General has it exactly backwards. Sellers set their own prices for the products they offer in our store, end quote. So Chad, first timer, put you on the spot question. This is my favorite thing to do because you guys do it to us every single week. So you get the tough one. Now, both you guys have pretty interesting backgrounds. Kristin, you've been on the retail side. Chad, you've been on the brand side. So you get what this is all about. You guys have had some knowledge and skill and training around price regulations and what you can and cannot do in these situations. So based on what we're currently reading, what do you think here? Is the Attorney General onto something?
Well, first of all, you guys know how to haze really well.
This might be the toughest question we've ever had.
I mean, at least you did until the second question of my first podcast to do it, so I appreciate that. But okay, so a little known fact. So I actually started my career in procurement and have worked through some most favored nation clauses in my day. But listen, we're not antitrust advisors. So if the question is really like, are they onto something? Like, heck yeah, because it smells funny, right? Like we just talked about Amazon being a consolidator in the media space, and with like, given their position in search and as a marketplace provider, like if it smells funny, yeah, it's definitely worth putting Amazon under the microscope, right? And here's why. So coming from the CPG standpoint and like our clients, like there's concern here, right? So like I feel like our clients feel that it's harming open market competition. So if you think about it, right, by not allowing third-party sellers to offer lower prices anywhere else, like it's eliminating the opportunity for a real tiered channel pricing strategy. It takes away meaningful liquidation opportunities out in the open market.
Oh, right, good point.
It precludes from driving traffic to a brand's own website if they do direct to consumer, because I believe that's part of it as well, right? That you can't have lower prices on your own site, which compresses margin opportunity for the brands as well. So I don't know if it's resulting in artificially high consumer prices, as the suit indicates, but it's allowing Amazon to set the floor. And it's funneling more traffic to them, which may or may not be good for the brands. And again, because it smells different, it's probably not, right? So I look at this in terms of, well, where does this go, right? So again, prior to CRG here, I was a CMO for a couple different CPG brands, and we've seen this cross-channel price conflict play out before. And so this is kind of what I think could come out of it. So for instance, in, kind of legacy brick and mortar, like Walmart doesn't want to be beat price-wise either. And they actually specifically scorecard CPG suppliers against it. So if Walmart provided sufficient enough scale for us, we responded with Walmart-specific SKUs. And I think that's what could come out of this, depending on what happens with the suit, that sellers are effectively forced into Amazon-specific SKUs, that way to avoid the direct price comparisons, which of course muddies supply chains and manufacturing costs and all. So it's a deterrent.
Yeah, interesting. Kristin, what's your take on the retailer side? That's and that's your background here prior to consulting now. What's your take from that lens?
Well, I mean, similar to, as Chad mentioned, as a retailer, what's my liquidation strategy? Mm-hmm. What's my off-price strategy if I have to offer the lowest price on Amazon? And then, then I think of it as if and we debated this, if price is sort of taken off the table as a customer criteria to purchase because Amazon is the lowest, does it mean that I can only compete based on experience or almost a different good, better, best strategy with my merchandise assortment? Or does it mean price is even more important as a determining factor in my purchasing decision and I'm only going to go to Amazon for that?
Yeah, and it means consumers are only going to, right? I mean, consumers are only going to go there. That's probably why the search statistics are as high as they are, right? Like that we hear about all the time. When you know what you want to buy, that's where you're going to go because this is happening.
Yeah.
Right. So that's, even when I say that out loud, that feels anti-competitive to me as I'm talking about this.
Yeah.
And what do you think?
Well, I think the problem for me is that Amazon's argument is like, well, just go somewhere else. If you don't like if you don't want to sell on the platform, you don't like our rules, our 40% commission that we're taking that are causing you to place these prices at what they're at, then go to Walmart, go to Target's marketplace, go to Kroger's marketplace, go somewhere else. And I guess my question is that even a possibility for these SMBs? Is that something that they can do? I don't think so. And that's where I think these waters start to get really muddy.
In some ways, it's like implicitly written into the contract is the way it's being described. Like if I was at Target and I literally said to somebody, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but like if I had said to a brand, like, look, if I see your price lower anywhere else, you will lose end cap space. Like if I deliberately said that, that would probably not have been okay. Like I cannot be dictating the prices I see at other retailers. That's anti-competitive. And by explicitly saying that there is an algorithm by which that is happening and actions are being taken off of that, that seems in conflict to that. And it seems in conflict to the rules by which other traditional retailers have operated for a long time and for good reason, because it's to control market power from being used in that way. Chad, you're shaking your head. Yes, like that feels essentially right to you.
It does feel right. I mean, I think that line has been towed for a while by retailers, right? And so there's maybe the difference between explicit and implicit and how things play out over time. But it does kind of cross that boundary line. And to go back to Anne's point, like I think there is something fundamentally different around this being in open marketplaces and the transparency of prices and kind of what that provides and how it changes the dynamic, where this does feel kind of predatory and monopolistic based on the fact that they know the search parameters, like in the consumer behavior, is already filtering toward them. And so to Kristin's point earlier, they're absolutely capitalizing on the fact to say, take price out of the equation now. And because we are invested and we're delivering on the experience, that's what we can win now because no one else can beat us on this other dimension, which again, doesn't feel right. Yeah.
And in traditional retail, things don't happen in real time like that, right? So even as you're saying, there's these different areas, it doesn't happen. The conversations don't happen like that. So it'll be like, you'll have a line review and you'll look at it at a point in time and say, look, I'm taking into account all the different things in the marketplace. Price may be one of those, but I'm probably not even explicitly talking about that. I'm talking about it in general. And as a result of all those things, these actions I'm taking for the next year, the next 6 months or whatever. Whereas this is happening in real time, almost in a way like it's punitive, which is really fascinating to me.